Okay. Thank you, Karen and David. Welcome. We're pleased to be joining you from Miami. It's like Wisconsin. It's cold and rainy here today, but we define cold as 80 degrees, so a little bit different. We're also very pleased to be talking with the Federal Labs Consortium. We hope to be talking about a prize that I think represents a great nexus between the public-private partnership and a lot of opportunity to jointly solve, I think, one of the most pressing environmental problems this planet faces. So last July, the Everglades Foundation launched the George Barley Water Prize. It's a $10 million incentivized prize to help solve the problem of nutrient pollution in freshwater bodies. We're specifically focused on phosphorus and removing it from the water column of all the problems to solve. That's the one we're focused on. And we've been trying to attract entrepreneurs and innovators in this science prize, one of the largest ever offered, in order to solve a very specific problem facing multiple freshwater ecosystems around the world. We've gotten a lot of response on this, so I think that signals both the urgency of the problem and the need to, or the interest in finding a solution. So just a little bit about the Everglades Foundation. We're a not-for-profit, privately funded group. We're a 501c3, and we're specifically focused on restoring the Everglades ecosystem. Now, we have a large team of staff scientists who serve as technical experts in many other programs, but we found very quickly that one of the single biggest problems facing the Everglades is nutrient enrichment of the fresh water, and the Everglades Foundation Board of Directors was committed to finding an innovative way of solving that problem. So most of our board members are businessmen and women who are very interested in finding ways to bring free market innovation to the problem we're facing of nutrient pollution. So we know this is a global problem, and so we tried to design a prize with the help of a lot of federal agency input to design a prize that would be applicable in both tropical climates like in southern Florida, but also in temperate climates. So we've partnered with the Ministry of the Environment and in Ontario, and also with other government and industry partners in order to launch this prize. So I don't need to explain the magnitude of the problem to, I think, the people on this call, but just for your own interest, the problem of nutrient enrichment in freshwater bodies is a problem all across the United States. The U.S. EPA estimated about 40% of U.S. rivers and streams have excess levels of phosphorus, and we're seeing each year a lot of very harmful algal blooms. One of the results of nutrient enrichment, and so we're trying to tackle this problem head-on with an incentivized research prize. So it's not just limited to North America, but all around the globe, freshwater bodies are faced with this exact same problem, and we're trying to find a globally applicable technical solution with a breakthrough technology and especially a breakthrough cost. So that cost estimate, the cost barrier is one of the most important problems we face. This is sort of a rough estimate of what it would take to clean up the phosphorus enrichment at each kind of level of where in the watershed or where it might occur. And just the bottom line would be to clean it all up to get into like a very large lake, like even one lake in around the country. The total cost may well be in excess of $3 trillion, $15 billion just in Florida alone, and on a national scale, that is a huge obstacle to cleaning up the problem. We have to find a way to reduce the total cost of cleanup, and that is the focus of the George Barley Water Prize. So with that, I'll turn it over to Leanne to talk about the specifics.
Thank you, Tom. So I've come in as the interim director of the George Barley Water Prize and very quickly came to realize what phenomenal potential this prize has. The group launched the prize on July 21st, and as this infographic shows, we had 250 people tune in from around the world, 21 states, 13 countries, and at that time, 108 teams had registered to compete. If you have any teams or potential competitors you want to send our way, I'll tell you right now, you can send them to barleyprize.com. And that's down there at the end of the screen. That is the platform that our competitors come forth. And if any of you are interested, you can actually create your own sign-in ability for that website. And I find it pretty interesting to go in and peruse the different tiles of our competitors. The timeline stretches out over 4 years, and it's meant to represent the natural evolution of early technology to the point where we can solve a prize. This slide shows that we went through a planning stage, and then we launched into stage 1, as I mentioned, in June of 2016. At the moment, we have completed phase 1 of stage 1, and we're in phase 2 of stage 1, pardon me. And at each stage, we'll have recognition of those that are moving forward with the specific elements of the competition at that time. Again, at barleyprize.com, if anybody's interested in the real rules and regulations of how to become successful within the $10 million prize competition itself, there's a downloadable prize document that gets into extreme detail as to requirements and rewards for each phase. Phase 1 ended in September, and this is a breakdown of the applicants that we see coming forward. We're looking for, obviously, innovators and brilliant minds around the world to come and show what we can do on a scalable, sustainable, and reasonably priced way to clean up the excess phosphorus in the world's freshwater supply. We've received interest from for-profits, nonprofits, and a hybrid of both. We're excited to see some of the universities coming forward with not only experienced professors, but some young individuals with very innovative ideas. And as you can see, there's a breakdown as to the different approaches between physical, biological, chemical, and hybrids of these. This is a representation of the applicant geography. This was just phase 1, and I'm really happy to say that the map is filling out as more of those 100-plus competitor teams fill out more of the applicant process through barleyprize.com. And we see people from Canada, Belgium, Germany, India, Australia, and obviously the U.S. is well represented. We are interested in reaching out further, and like I mentioned, and I'll probably say it again, if you know of or you may be a potential competitor with an idea on this, then we'd love to hear from you or have people directed towards barleyprize.com for the contestants. There's lots of things that we need to do with regard to getting this prize running at each and every stage, obviously. We've got a fantastic team, including a subcontracting company in Texas called Verb that is assisting with the contestant logistics, but we would not be able to do this without the very experienced and energetic abilities of our Vice President of Development, Deborah Johnson. And so at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Deborah so she can talk about what perhaps the synergies might be with the Federal Lab Consortium crowd. Deborah.
Great. Thanks, Leanne. Just sort of to circle back where Karen and David started, we had the privilege of meeting the fine folks at the Water Council earlier this year and really looking at water as a global, in a state of global crisis. And we came together to really recognize the significance of creating an ecosystem of experts as we begin to explore this challenge of nutrient pollution in freshwater bodies. What we're showing here today is just the start of us building out an ecosystem of experts and partners who are playing a role in this prize. You'll see that we have an esteemed board of advisory council members being headed up by the Honorable Governor Christine Todd Whitman and former EPA administrator. We've reached out to entrepreneurs, experts in the field to be able to bring the highest level of credibility and expertise as we begin to walk through this prize. And oftentimes we talk about, as we seek answers with this competition, we really today are seeking to ask the right questions to inspire those answers that could potentially solve this global crisis. Moving into the next slide, really looking at ways as we reached out to the Water Council and begin our partnership with some of the fine resources, both in the port and the new launch of ICE. We recognize that building these types of partnerships are going to be invaluable to the success of the prize. So we have just put some thought-starting ideas for some of our listeners at the Lab Consortium to really explore opportunities for collaboration, shared thought leadership, opportunity to communicate and share content, potentially look at applicants, resources, how we can collaborate. As Dr. Van Lant was sharing, as we look at this both at a U.S. and a global scale, we recognize that these technologies are going to be incredible in their marketability, and that we're really looking to bring these technologies, whether they end up being the $10 million winner or their technologies that improve the current way we're removing phosphorus from freshwater bodies. We believe that they're going to spur advancements in our thinking and in the preservation of our watersheds. So we seek opportunity to open conversation, ask questions with the Federal Lab Consortium as we begin to work through this prize and as we begin to develop the content that is emerging from these early phases of the prize. Leanne, I'll go ahead and close and throw it back to you and be happy to finish up with any questions.
Thank you so much, Deborah. I'm going to leave your slide up there for just another minute while I just say thank you to Karen and David and to everybody in the audience for giving us an opportunity to share our very hopeful and forward-thinking process here with regard to trying to solve such an intractable problem such as this poor water quality and restricted water flows. We are very hopeful and excited that this intricate process of prize design and execution will result in a game changer for the world's freshwater supply and the excess phosphorus that we've had to deal with as a result of our history. And if there are any questions with regard to how to get in touch with us, we would love to have you reach out to us